Hey everyone, my name's Kathy. I'm an alcoholic.
My name is Jessica. I'm an addict.
I'm Jessica and I'm a child of God.
Amen, sister. Amen. This is
Well,
Recovered, Two Friends,
Yes.
One Path, and we are here tonight with our friend Jessica. And Jessie, she prefers. Kathy's going to get doing our normal thing that we do every week and tell y'all all about what we do.
Yes, and then Jessica can introduce
Jessie.
This is solely our opinion. We're not affiliated with any group and or program. Our sole purpose is to help others fight an addiction and or alcoholism and to offer help and knowledge how we stay sober. This 100% raw and real. We do cuss, we do tell war stories, we do cry, we do laugh, but we do
recover.
Alright, so Jessica has known Jessie a lot longer than I have. I think I met you last year.
Yes.
And y'all have known each other for many years.
Yeah, at least 3.
Yes.
So, take it away.
Thank you. Well, I'm Jessica, and I'm an addict, of course. This is Jessie, and I want to start off by telling you that if there's ever been an example of God working in someone's life, it would be this young lady right here. I love telling this story about Jessie. The first day I ever saw her, she came to prayer meeting at our church. We go to Faith Tabernacle, which is now Faith Church.
Right.
And she came in to the prayer meeting and was along with her living sober people. And they do that every week. She's with our House of Restoration, and it is a fabulous, fabulous place, y'all. So if you're in need, that's one number to call for ladies. But she showed up, and she looked like she wasn't going to have none of what we were doing. She sat in the pew in the front row, and I mean, if her eyes could have been this big, they were bigger. And she was just like, what is going on? You know, we had some people getting the Holy Ghost, and, you know, it gets a little extreme in there sometimes. It does. God will take over and make a movement, and we don't stop it. My husband and I left to get a runner. Got a runner. And so stuff gets kind of crazy. So Jessie looked like she was not going to have any part of it. And within a couple of weeks, Jessie moved into an amazing child of God, and she is now the assistant director at the program. She lives on campus with them there and helps with everything. I mean, I think she has her hand in literally everything there. And she went from this scared person to someone who is mighty and very brave, and watching her do that has been an honor and a blessing in my life. And I'm just saying, if it could do for Jessie, it could do for you. And Jessie has got such an amazing story, and I'm so proud of her. And I'm gonna let her take that away and tell you all about what happened.
Well, I guess if I'm going to start with what you said. So, I ended up getting arrested on May the 4th of 2023. So my mom had just passed away April the 17th of 2023, and all my family said, well, we already know something's going to happen. And so I ended up going to jail. The police had come to serve somebody else with a warrant at Motel 6, and they said, what's your name? You got a warrant. And I'm like, well, if you don't know my name, how do you know I got a warrant?
Well,
But long story short, I ended up going to jail. I had speed on me. I got another possession charge. And so in jail, I ended up I already knew the right people to talk to. And so I had interviews with the Rockdale House for Women. I had interviews with One New Direction. And it just wasn't in God's plan for me to go to either of those programs. I was denied for Rockdale House for Women, and then about the time I did my interview for New Directions, they had closed them down. And so I kept asking the HR people at the jail, can I get an application for our House of Restoration? They said they had to get with Kim Eskew. I asked Kim Eskew at church. She said, I'm going to get Mr. Mogan to give it to you.
she's the director.
Yes, she's the director of the program. And so long story short, I go to court. They kept continuing my case, and the last time I went to court, they said, oh, you've been accepted at our House of Restoration. And so it was kind of just dropped on me, but that was God's plan. So I ended up getting out, going to Miss Kim's house, and that night was a Monday, so we went to prayer. And so I get to prayer, and I had been to my mom's house was like the next street over from the church, so I had been there before, but very briefly. And when they say you got a runner, I mean, that was the right place for me to be because I was a runner.
You're right.
My whole life, I was a runner, just in different context. And so, I lost my train of thought.
You got the prayer meeting, and
Yes, I got to prayer meeting, and I'm looking around at these people, and they're raising their hands and speaking in tongues and running the aisles and jumping up and down, and I'm like, I don't know what I've got myself into. But as the days moved on, and you get more comfortable, and so, mind you, okay, I had been living in addiction for 12 years. I was living in a homosexual lifestyle, and it just wasn't what I was used to. And so I went from wearing all men's clothing to slowly transitioning, God doing an inner work on me to change my outer appearance. And so, yes. And
so today you wear your skirts.
yes, I wear skirts. I wear pants to work because I work construction during the day. But so the snogas for me, which are like leggings with a skirt on, it was my transition period, I guess, because I still felt like I was wearing pants.
So it's comfortable to you.
Yes.
But now you wear all these beautiful dresses to
I
church on
do.
Sunday.
I do, and I remember as a kid, my uncle would come pick me up, and I would be out crying beside the trash can or something because I was wearing a purple shirt, and I said, I'm not gonna. And he said, why are you crying? And I said, I'm gonna look like a girl. And he said, they're not gonna think you're a girl. Get in the truck.
I'm not gonna think you're a girl.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so
So today you got a whole new lifestyle. You got a whole new you.
I do.
How long you been sober?
3 years on May the 4th. So this past week was 3 years.
So other than Jesus and doing that, do you work any other programs? Have you gotten into AA or NA? Or
I've been to AA and NA meetings, and I have never done the steps.
Okay.
So I've been to meetings, and and I know it's proven, I'll be the first one to take anybody to a meeting who wants to go to a meeting. But I got what I needed from church. And I had tried to get sober multiple times, and it just didn't stick. But what I was missing was that higher power was God.
That hole in your heart was God.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, I tried to fill it with human stuff and I couldn't do it.
Yes.
You can't put a square peg in a round hole.
That's
It
right.
does not fit. So you said that AA and stuff's not for you. We are here. We are good with that. We are completely okay with you doing anything that works for you.
Right.
And since you're really kind of the first guest we've had on to have this experience, what can you tell somebody about how they can find what you found?
So, when I was, so let me start. When I was growing up, I was not raised in church. My mom was very angry at God. My dad, I have never met my father. I know he passed away before my mother did, but I wasn't raised in church. I would go walk a quarter mile down the street to go to a Baptist church with this older couple who would take me. But I would get grounded from church. But even then, kids are mean. And I didn't dress like them, and I didn't talk like them, and I didn't know anything about God, so I wouldn't ask questions because they would make fun of me. And it's just
You didn't feel loved, you didn't feel accepted, so
Right.
you didn't try.
right. And I was scared of sounding stupid or looking dumb, and they were mean and hateful. And I got to a point where I would get grounded from church, but because my friends were there, I did have friends there, but I had felt like if this is how Christians are, then I don't want any part of that. And so when I knew I was going to a faith-based program, and I was like, well, I mean, I tried everything else,
Yeah.
And so God knew exactly where I needed to be around the people, around the perfect people, and the perfect time in my life that I needed it for it to work.
He does that, doesn't he?
Yes.
So what steps could you offer somebody to start doing what you did? So like you said, just find a good church.
Find a good church. Reach out to people. I mean, because, I mean, I don't know what I was about to say.
That's okay. You said reach out to people, find good people.
Yes, find good people. I mean, come to Faith Tabernacle.
Faith Church.
Faith Church.
Faith
That's
Church.
that's a good thing is that you can say, hey, I've done both meetings.
Right,
I got what I needed from church.
right.
You know, because a lot of people that I talk to, they're like, you know, I got what I need at church. And
Right.
a lot of people say, I got what I need at group.
Right.
You know, there's so many different
Pathways to recovery.
pathways, and this what this page is all about is recovery, not
Yes.
just one certain way, because I've known plenty of people do it plenty of different ways.
Right.
I have a question. How many times had you been, or for how many years had you been in and out of addiction before this past 3 years?
Okay, so I'll start when okay, so I'll start from high school. So me and my mom, we did not get along. Okay, but I think it's because we were so much alike, and I was constantly in a state of trying to please her, trying to be good enough, and it didn't seem like nothing I did was ever good enough. But my mom was an alcoholic from the time from before I was born up until probably she struggled with alcohol until like 1997, 1998 when my stepdad got out of jail. And so, and she stayed sober for maybe 20 years in between there. But so in high school, all I'd ever wanted to do was join the military.
Right.
And so, and that was I wanted to join the Marines. But by my end of my junior year, I knew something had to change. And so I just stuck it out. And then so the day I turned 17, I signed a contract to join the Army. So I did a split off, which was, I went to basic training between my junior and senior year of high school. I came back, I graduated high school, and then I shipped out for AIT.
That's cool. I didn't know that was possible. Okay.
Yes.
Learned
So I shipped out for AIT in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And so I got back, and I was stationed at Fort Gillem in the 733rd MPCID unit at Fort Gillem. And a couple years passed, and I ended up getting discharged for failure to maintain height and weight. So the max weight for my height was 106, and I was 130 pounds, which isn't heavy.
Right.
But
I didn't know there was a.
yes.
Wow.
And so it was an uncharacterized discharge, but I had never had a plan B. And so that was all I ever wanted to do. And so I just went back to what I knew. I mean, me and my best friend would be 6 years old cutting out lines of baby powder. And they'd walk in and like, what are you doing? Well, we're doing what we see. And so I was like, I was petty and young. I said, you want me to lose weight? Watch, I got you. And so I started doing speed, and it snowballed into 12 years of my life. And I mean, continuously. I mean, there's so many times that I'm grateful to God that He has had a bigger plan for my life.
Right.
Because I should have been dead. I mean, I've been stabbed twice. I mean, there's
So is Kathy.
there's
Once.
there's
Wait, that's a funny story.
we
to
have
tell you
something in
later.
common.
Yeah.
Something else. I should be dead or in prison, and if by the grace of God I'm not, because He had bigger plans for my life.
Amen. Amen.
Wow. So in and out of addiction for 12 years.
Yeah.
And yeah. And you were pretty young whenever you started.
19.
So you had already gotten out of your career that you planned for the rest of your life by the
Yes.
time you were 19.
Yes.
That's enough to push somebody.
Yes.
Especially over something like weight.
Right. And so as a child, I had already had like, so my best friend, she had always been, we've been the same weight, but she just looked differently on her.
Yeah.
And so I never understood that just because she was taller, like I just was like, oh, well, it just looks different. And so I was always insecure
Yeah.
about that. And then to have, I guess, my dreams taken from me
For
because
that
of that,
reason.
yes, it was heartbreaking.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is. That's wrong. I just want to.
Yeah, I didn't know that was even a possibility. That's something that we need to write our congressman about. That's crappy.
It is.
That's awful. So that must have really messed with your
It
self-esteem.
did. And I still struggle with it.
You shouldn't. You look proportionate to exactly the way
No.
you're supposed to be, Jess.
Yes.
You look great.
So now, tell us what life is like.
So, you know, I heard somebody else on the podcast say it, even my best, you know, my worst days now are better than my best days using.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I work construction during the day. I run a hydraulic saw at a truss company. And the afternoons I work at our house of restoration as the assistant director for 2 houses that holds 15 women.
Oh, you have a lot of responsibility there.
Yes, and so, but I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. And on
She
the
does a great job.
and on the weekends I'm going to school. I've got about 6 more months before I can take my test for my CAC 1.
Okay.
So
Tell me what that is.
it's a certification for addiction counseling level 1.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Plan B has now been your
Yes.
recovery.
Yes, and so part of it also was, I guess when you're growing up, you always hear that, you know, you get a felony, it's going to be forever on your record, you'll never get a good job, and it never dawned on me that people who work in recovery are in recovery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lots of people.
Like I just was like, oh, my life's over now.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who feel that way,
Yeah.
and then they're like, you know, I just went up to my rehab and
Right.
got a job there, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so people that use that excuse are just not looking hard enough.
Right.
Just saying.
Oh yeah,
Or not knowledge. You know, this is a huge thing for knowledge for everybody out there. You know, if you do have a record and you are someone with lived
Yes.
experience, you can get a very good, amazing, high-paying job with benefits in recovery. The Georgia Council for Recovery
Yes.
hires people.
yes.
CARES is a great thing. You know, you become a certified addiction and drug empowerment specialist and be able to work at rehabs and methadone clinics and all these different places. You can work like what Jessica's
Yes.
doing. I mean, she has a big girl job that she does plus 2 other things.
Right.
And just because she has a felony doesn't make her a bad person. It makes her someone who
Right.
has worked hard to change their life. She's not forever labeled that way.
Right.
You know, whenever I first got out of rehab and they were talking about sober living places, because for some reason I thought, take a little bit more of a vacation. I don't know. I don't know if I was ready to come home. I don't know, but they gave me a few places. And I said, is there any place in Covington? Because I was just curious. And they had mentioned that, and I was
I gave you the number first too.
and I was like I'm gonna remember that shit. Come on. let's
I
get
know,
for
I
real.
know.
But my counselor was like, oh yeah, they can't take you right now, they're full. And I was like, okay. And I had never heard of it, and come to find out, the owner of it was actually the person who gave Jessica the information to help get me into rehab. So huge shout out and thank you to Miss Kim. I didn't know it until just a few months ago when Jessica told me, hey, whenever, you know, your husband called me, I called Kim, and Kim, you know, called a few places. So thank you a lot. I appreciate that. And Kim, I've never seen any of Kim's girls just not failing. You know, she has a very good success rate.
Right.
High success rate.
You know, and you can always tell the difference because they're so much more chippier
Right.
Mhm.
than other recovery houses that are sober living houses that I've been to, visited, done speaking at. It's just a totally different atmosphere, with the girls there. They're just so happy and chipper, and the other ones are like those ones,
Watching the clock, ready for snack.
Yeah.
Counting it down like they're in hell.
Right.
Snack bed. Okay.
So yeah, she's got a great program. She really does, and she also helps Haley with Heart of Newton,
Yes.
which is the event we've been talking about, June 13th at Georgia Piedmont College.
Piedmont College. I believe all of us will be attending, so if you want to
Wow.
come by and tell Jessie you heard her story, that would be okay too.
Yes, we will be there. We will have a table. We're gonna have a few giveaways, but that's something within. Let's see, it's a little over a month.
Little
now.
over a
Or,
month.
No, a month today, I think.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow. One day this week. It's the middle of the month. But yeah, definitely save your date for June 13th. It's on a Saturday. Haley's gonna feed us. I mean,
Yeah. I'm gonna have a Michi.
come
Yeah,
on.
we're having a Michi for free, guys. So if anything, just eat. Come for dinner.
Well, and show your support. You may not be in recovery, but you
But
may
you might
have
know
that.
somebody in recovery.
You may have that secret family member that nobody talks about that
Right.
is in recovery, and maybe you just secretly want to give some support. Okay, come on out. You don't have to live in Newton County.
Nobody will know.
Yeah, it's not like we're checking IDs at the door. Come out, have a good time, learn about recovery. You don't have to be an addict to learn about it.
Knowledge is power, people.
That's right.
And
Knowledge is power.
like I said, 9 times out of 10, somebody's got somebody that's got somebody in their life, whether it be a neighbor, a coworker, a friend, a family member, whatever. There's always somebody that's like, oh, I know that person.
Yeah.
That person's alcoholic, that person's an addict, but they don't ever say, yeah, I do, I know that person, that they overcame something.
Yeah.
They forget about that, but they remember. But anyway, I started going to a
goes
spiral
on
there.
her limb.
Sorry.
She goes on.
But yeah, somebody, even if you don't, come out and support. See what Haley's Heart of Newton's all about. Great girl. Just come out and support her. And your story, that's amazing too. It is amazing that you came this far. I'm just saying, it's such a thing that whenever you say all you wanted to be was military, and after a couple of years you're like that would be devastating.
Right.
That would mess with me. To sit there and have that. So that's you've overcame a lot. That's why I was curious as to how young you were.
Right.
Because that's a lot for a teenager.
Yeah. And so, and I had dabbled in stuff before then. As a child, I grew up at Tommy Taxi. I lived at the dispatch office.
Oh,
I know them. I
Yes.
know them well. Bo was one of my best friends.
Yes, my mom used to drive for Tommy, and so when we didn't have nowhere to live, we lived at the dispatch office on Farmer Road. We lived at the dispatch office on Farmer Road, and I slept on this little flowery couch in the living room.
Wow. And look at you now, about
I know.
to start school, or you just have 6 more months.
I have 6 more months of school,
Yes. Man.
and thank you.
I think you've overcome the Army at this point.
Yes.
I think you have
Yes,
set a better future for yourself with what you have today. Like I said, God knows what you need.
yes, he does. And today I'm grateful that my family trusts me again. They don't have to worry about me going and robbing them blind.
Mm-hmm.
Just random people.
yeah.
I mean, just robbing anybody. They don't have to worry about where I'm gonna sleep at tonight. They don't have to worry about me running out of gas on the side of the road saying, "Hey, can you bring me some gas?"
See, that's something else I was talking about the other day to a friend of mine. I said, you know, we used to have this one relative. Anytime there was an event, it was like hide your purses,
Right.
you know. And I wonder whenever I'd go to places if they'd be like hide your alcohol
Right.
because they were so afraid of just.
You did a good job of keeping it under wraps.
Yeah, I didn't go
You didn't-
anywhere whenever I was.
You did a good
Yeah.
job. There was very few people on this planet that knew that you had the
Yeah.
problem you had.
Yeah, that's true. But I wonder if they would be like, hey, you better hide something.
Here she
because-
comes.
Yeah, I would have. I would have drank.
Well, even to this day, now that you're so open about it, because some people are petty like that,
Right.
you know, I wonder sometimes if people are now, like, even though I'm sober now and that I'm not using, I wonder if she's high, you know, and I'm now
Yeah.
clean 5.5 years, and I wonder if people, you know, still kind of give me the side eye at family Christmas
Right.
and wonder, or if I drop a few pounds, somebody thinks I've automatically
Yeah.
picked something up. There was a time a couple of years ago when Mike and I split up, and I literally was like a toothpick because of all the stress.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up a drink. I didn't pick up nothing, but that was the first thing everyone alluded to. And it was like, I'm stressed. I don't have my husband. We're fighting. We're arguing. I'm living somewhere else. I've lost all this weight because I'm not eating. I'm getting sick. You know, that's what it is. But I have to deal with what I did.
Yeah.
And what I did was made people think that. You know, now I'm no longer a doormat, and I've made my amends for all of those things. But I have to understand that people are still not going to understand.
I mean, and not everybody is where you are. No, just because you're working the steps doesn't mean that everybody else is also taking those steps towards forgiveness. And I mean, they're gonna have those feelings, and I just have to be okay with it. Speaking for myself.
Yeah,
I mean, because they-
other
because they
people's
care.
Opinions make no
I mean-
difference. We
Right.
can't control them. We were just talking about that last week. Your opinion of me. You know, I can't control that. So.
I made a little thing on my no longer anonymous page on Facebook, and I was talking about that yesterday. That very thing, that it's not my business what somebody else thinks about me.
Right.
You know, what you think about me it's not my business.
Yeah.
That's just your opinion,
Right.
okay? And everyone in this world has a different opinion of me.
Yep.
And a different view of who I am, and none of it matters because it's not me.
You know, I was just thinking this the other day that, you know, there was a time, actually me and Miss Kim had this conversation that I needed, when I first got into the program, she said, would you rather be needed or wanted? And I said, well, I would
Say
rather,
that again.
would you rather be needed or wanted?
Mm.
And I said, well, I would rather be needed. Because a need you can't do without. A want, I mean you can be here for a minute and then you decide you don't want me around anymore, then you can leave, because I had abandonment issues. And she said, well, I'd rather be wanted. I'd rather you want me around. And now I'm at the point where I think I'm okay being wanted. You know, I've grown into that. I guess I've overcome
Being
those.
abandoned, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very paradoxical question.
Yes.
And you know, the difference, there's a lot of people that don't know the difference between needing and wanting, you know, and that's a prime definition. I mean, we, at one point, towards the end of my drinking, I didn't want alcohol, but I needed it to stay alive.
Oh yes,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
so right. Oh gosh.
You know, and people don't understand that, but my body had to have it.
Yes.
You know, and it wasn't like I woke up and said, I mean, my body, I would literally shake until I had it.
You cannot
Yeah.
stop. It's something you
I
cannot
know.
stop doing. You know, I was talking about that too. You know, the last couple of years I was on my pill addiction. I wasn't happy with it, and I wasn't happy without it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just literally existing, and without it, I was sick.
You know, it was the same way with my mom. You know, so my mom, you know, I said she had gotten sober for 20 years, and then her best friend died. And at the wake, they said, "Here's to Janet." And she said, "Well, what's one?"
Ah.
And that's all it took was that one, and then it was off to the races. And then it was a fifth of 1,800 gold once a day, and then it was a couple times a day, and then it was, I won't get open container if I put it in my trunk because it's not out of my reach. But she still had that styrofoam cup there. I mean, and it got to the point where she wasn't happy with it, she wasn't happy without it, and she ended up passing away because of the drinking.
How long had she gone without it until at that point at that funeral?
How long has she gone without it? From between when she quit and
Yeah, and picked up.
20 years.
See,
20 years.
It never
It'll-
goes away.
It
People.
doesn't. It can only takes one time.
Never goes away.
Wow. And how long after the 20-year you said it eventually took her life?
Yeah. So in 2020, she is when Janet died, passed away, and so 2020 is when she picked up that first drink. And then by 2021, she had gotten pulled over in Douglas County, coming home from work. She made a wrong turn, coming from East Point to Conyers, and ended up in Douglas. And she called her best friend. They left her car on the side of the road. She was able to hide that DUI. So then, no, that was in like November of 2021. Her tire blew out on Smyrna Road. She hit a mailbox. There was a cop behind her. And so she got arrested for, they just socked it to her, DUI, no seatbelt,
Failure to maintain lane.
failure to maintain lane, destruction of private property. I mean, a whole bunch of things. My uncle ended up having to put up his house to bond her out of jail. She ended up going through DUI court in Rockdale County. Got kicked out of there, got put in Grand, got kicked out of Grand. And so from 2019 to 2023. And so in 2023, I mean, and my family was like, you can put it down, but I mean, her body needed it. She wasn't, like you said, she wasn't happy with it or without it. And she ended up with pancreatitis, and she would go to the hospital, and they say, if you don't stop, you're going to die.
We've heard that a lot.
And she just couldn't. And then so she started hallucinating. She went to the hospital, and she was okay. Like when I went and saw her, she was hallucinating. She was talking about the angels from, one of those shows. I don't remember the show, but the angel's name was Jody. She was seeing the angels in the room. And so she was in the hospital, and between that day and 5 days later, she was intubated. She laid there, she got pneumonia, her lung collapsed, she got toxic shock, the dialysis couldn't keep up with the acid her body was producing, and her little body just couldn't handle it.
It's awful. So that's a warning to any of you out there. I know
Yes.
a lot of people have gone through pancreatitis. We got somebody at the table.
Yeah.
Yes.
And once you have gone through that part and they tell you to stop, then you need to listen to them. And there is help available. We tell you this every time. There is help if you want it and not need it. Want it and need it, and we would be more than happy to help you get it. If you send us a direct message, we also have numbers that we're going to give you in a few minutes. And we want y'all to do better. That's the whole reason we do this every week. We sit here every week and talk to y'all because we love y'all, and we want y'all to be able to sit here in this chair and tell somebody else how you did it. That's what we want from you.
Wow, I was just sitting here thinking, so from March until June, I was diagnosed with pancreatitis, and they never said don't drink again, any of that stuff, If they did, I really don't remember it. After I got out of the hospital, I didn't drink for a little while, but then whenever I did go on my binge, it lasted so long that, it was like what you're saying about your mom. Whenever I say I was walking dead into rehab, like I literally...
She had been through some severe infections, some so hard that she will never be able to take an antibiotic again. Kathy is a miracle sitting here at this table, y'all. I want to tell you, She is a miracle of a different type. Kathy came back from the dead, y'all, and
A few times.
a few times, and praise God she did, because now she uses that power and that knowledge and that wisdom to share with y'all, because once again, we want y'all to do what we've done.
And that's you telling your mom's story about what 5 days, you know,
Yeah.
and it your disease wants you dead.
Right.
I mean, it's
This is
your
what
disease is in the background doing push-ups
that's exactly what I was about to say.
and pull-ups and stretches. I mean, it's getting ready, and so many people, they don't understand. They're like, "Oh, it's a choice."
It's not.
And I have a very good friend of mine, and we butt heads about it, and we just agree to disagree. But sometimes I just want to slap the shit out of him. Bang his head a few times. But to each their own. I know that had I not went to rehab at that time, I would have been within a few days of the hospital with that 5-day
Right.
lapse.
Yeah.
Probably. That's,
Or less.
I mean, I was headed down there. So, and that was, and like I said, if they did tell me to stop, I don't even remember them giving me a diagnosis until I went back on my chart. That's how out of it I was. I know it hurt. I know I was sick. I was so sick.
I know that because she had pancreatitis for maybe about, she's probably had it longer than she thought, but I knew about it for about 6 months or so. And she would call me at work. She worked in East Point at Malone's Steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And she would call me and say, "Jesse, I can't drive because she was hurting so bad."
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Off
in
Virginia Avenue?
Yeah.
I got a friend that works there now.
and I was in addiction, driving without an insurance. But I was like, I'm going to get my mom. I'm not leaving my mom in the middle of East Point. So I would drive up there, and on the way home, she'd say, "I know a liquor store that doesn't close until 2 a.m."
Right. And
That's
I
that
had gotten,
insanity.
Right.
I had gotten so sick that my body was actually rejecting
Yeah.
the alcohol. I tried to drink it just to get the shakes
Shakes
down.
away.
We have
And
another
I
friend we
keep-
tried to feed it to like that, remember? Tried to feed it to like that, and he just couldn't do it. Couldn't keep it down.
That's why I said I knew I was sick. Whenever I was too sick to drink, I knew that was
Mhm.
That was it right there.
that was probably my body shutting down.
Yeah.
And my body was shutting down, and it's done that a few times because of alcohol.
Let me do a time check and see where we're at,
At
guys.
one point, to the point of being set in shock, toxic shock
Yeah.
syndrome. That was pretty bad. But yeah, and I know a lot of people that have been told, hey, if you don't stop drinking, you're gonna die. You know, within you'll have less than a year, and you got to stop now, and they still.
I mean, and my stepdad tried to. My stepdad tried to ease me into it that she wasn't gonna make it, or if she did make it, that she wasn't gonna be the same, because the blood started pooling in her feet,
Yeah.
and her toes started turning black, and so they just said that she wouldn't be right in the head, she wouldn't be able to walk. Do you think your mom would want to live like that? But the doctors were telling me that she could come back, and so I guess I just believed what I wanted to believe, and that was that she was gonna be okay, because I felt like she was all I had.
Right.
That's
I
your
mean-
mom, period. You know,
Well, right.
You'll never want to lose your mother.
Well, I know, but then even afterwards, I felt like a 31-year-old orphan. Because, I mean, I do have my stepdad, and he is there for me today, but in my sick mind, I just thought, well, you know, that going back to being wanted or needed, I mean, I didn't even want me around back then. And so if he didn't want me around, he wasn't related to me, so he could leave. He's not like
Bound to you.
right, you know, like your parents are supposed to be biased. And so I felt like he had the choice to leave, and I just felt like I had no one. So,
Man. And
and so that, going back to coming back to the house, that arrest ended up being a rescue.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
Sorry, I just jumped from way
No,
back.
but you're right though. That was powerful. Say that again, because that was powerful.
It wasn't an arrest; it was a rescue.
There you go, honey. That's right.
Yeah. I just had to think about that. That's sometimes those 911 prayers
Yeah.
come in different ways.
God will set you down. So
Yes,
do
He
you
will.
feel that you hit a rock bottom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was crossing state lines. I don't know if I can say keys. I was going to get keys on front.
Then you say,
I mean, spending thousands and thousands of dollars just to get that fixed. And I was just as addicted to selling as I was to doing.
oh yeah, that becomes a
Oh, yeah.
thrill, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Go and get it and come back and do all that.
Right,
yes.
and even after getting sober, it was a problem because, I mean, being able to, seeing a large amount of money that it took me 20 minutes to get, whereas having to work hour to hour. And I worked all throughout my addiction. I was a general manager at Checkers for 6 years. But I absolutely hit rock bottom. I had somewhere I was going with that, and I forgot.
It's okay.
It's
We're
okay.
gonna keep talking. You know, it's funny though that you said that you were addicted to the life. You know, I've heard people from all different types of lives. Like people
Yeah.
who've been trafficked and all that want to go back to it. And I'm like, why would you have to fight to stay where somewhere you're not
Right.
being abused? But like you said, that money, that
Yeah.
chase,
Yeah.
that this, that is all of those things are an addiction.
Yeah,
And like it is so hard. So you were hit with a double whammy. You were hit with an addiction to your DOC, and you
Yeah.
were also hit with an addiction to that lifestyle and that cash flow and that adrenaline and
yeah,
all of
yeah.
that.
And everything else that goes with that lifestyle, with men, with women. I mean, I was addicted to all of it, and I was miserable. Is the thing about it. I would go get high, and I would say, "What's gonna be?" I mean, and I was in a very abusive relationship. I wasn't allowed to have any friends. I mean, and I would say, "It's gonna be different this time. I'm gonna do everything right." And the woman that I was with, even my stepdad said, "I don't know how you do it because she's your mother. I don't see how you put up with two of them."
But so they say we date our parents.
Yeah, yep. And my stepdad could see it firsthand. I mean, and so
But today you don't have a problem with that lifestyle anymore.
No.
You move forward.
no. So God has delivered me from the homosexuality. God has delivered me from using, and everything that I ever wanted to fill that void, I have found in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Praise God. That's beautiful.
And, not as long. I was going to say something else, but scratch that. Let me rephrase it. What is it we say? As long as you go to bed at night sober, and as long as you wake up sober. Whatever works.
You're winning
Yeah.
too. You're winning as long as you're doing that.
I remember what I was going to say earlier.
What was you
say it.
going to say?
Oh, you were talking about did I hit a rock bottom?
Yeah.
And I was saying I was going to get keys on front, spending thousands of dollars, and it got to the point where I would get high, I would have seizures, my heart would stop, I'd stop
wow.
breathing, and I would because I was an IV user, and I would tell them, don't call the ambulance. I mean, if you get scared, just drag me out to the corner. I'm not going down as an IV drug user.
I've had people talk about how that people don't like to be Narcan.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because a lot of people, like, if they're not actually dying, they don't want you to take their high. Because
Right.
what it does is it runs right into those receptors and runs all of them away. So every bit of the drug that was in their system is gone.
and then you're detoxing.
They're in complete detox the
Withdrawal.
minute you hit them with that Narcan.
Yep.
So if you walk up to somebody and you suspect you need to hit them with Narcan, say, I'm about to hit you with Narcan, okay? And then they will tell you, And if they can tell you they don't want it, they
let's
don't need it.
That's right.
So just remember that little rule of thumb. They do give Narcan away at a lot of places. I believe that we will be educated on Narcan on that at the Heart of Newton.
Yes.
We will be talking about that too. So if you are interested in learning about how to administer Narcan or what it is and what it's for, y'all please come out to that symposium because we will be teaching you that there.
There will be a Narcan training
Mhm.
Yes. Haley did mention that at the
last meeting.
meeting before. I was unable to come to the last
Oh, yes.
meeting before that.
But speaking of that, they will
Excuse
teach
me.
you how
There's
to
one
use it.
tomorrow.
Morris Thursday.
Yeah, I'm
Tomorrow's
meeting my
Thursday.
sponsor again because we're supposed to do it yesterday. But look at you today, and I'm telling you, if I can't explain to y'all the transformation in the person that I saw walk into that church. And she's saying what she did. She did dress like a man that day. She came in with some manly clothes on.
Straight from jail.
And she had her hair down in a little pony. And she walked in and looked at us like we had a disease. And I was just like, okay. And I've seen that a few times, y'all, because they bring all their people there. Like, that is a requirement to be a resident. And so they bring them all there. But this specific situation is a little different because I watched Jessie go from 0 to 100. And like, she is every bit of embodiment of what recovery should look like.
Well, thank you.
You are. And you're
I
an
came in.
inspiration.
Thank you. I came in broken and lost, but searching because I tried every other avenue. And I mean, sometimes when you're in desperate need, you know how they say when you're in need, you're always like, God help me, God, even in jail, God help me, God, I swear I won't do it again. But I was at that point.
That sincerity, or
Yes.
sincere about
Yes.
it. Mm-hmm.
And I was heartbroken because my mom had passed away, and
Being abused by
Right.
someone.
right,
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to go through.
and now I have found my purpose, I feel like, and
No, you have. You don't feel like it.
I was
You,
gonna
you,
say,
you beam with it, Jessie. You beam with purpose,
Oh, thank
girl.
you.
Yeah, you do, and I've seen you do a lot for the house. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, you know, Jessie this and Kim that." Yeah, I hear nothing but positive things. So
Thank you.
And since she looked at us with them big old saucer eyes, now she's the first one to come touch you when you're praying, just
That's
so
right.
you know she will jump
That's
up
right.
and she will come help you out. She will pray you through anything. I'm so proud of her.
No,
all
thank you.
right, well, we'll give Jessica the helpline numbers.
Absolutely. So we have helplines here, just as we've said before. If you need help, please use them. We have 1-800-662-HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. Or findtreatment.gov. You can use that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It is a website, by the way. The Kratom helpline is 866-210-1303. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is 988. The CARES Warm Line is, like I've said, it is people who are just like us. They've been through it. They have lived experience. If you need somebody to talk to, they are open 8:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. at 1-844-326-5400. And Heart of Newton that we've been talking about big time. If you need something, she's got you. 470-845-6394.
That's okay.
What did I say? 470-345-6394. Is that right?
You said 845.
470-345-6394. I need a sandwich and a nap, y'all. I'm sorry.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, I know we know of each other and stuff, but to hear your story, I had no clue. It's a lot to digest, and look at you going now. I mean, you're an inspiration. And, you know, if you're, just like Jessie said, she was in jail. She was trying, hey, I need to get help outside of these walls. She knew.
Right.
And, you know, if you're sitting in jail and somebody hears this podcast and you're in jail, you're sober because you're clean and sober because you really have no choice. And you want to continue that journey, which, you know, you should, then look up, you know, various sober living outside of jail. You know, I don't know the process of it, but ask around.
Yeah.
You know, even afterwards, you can always hit a meeting or whatever,
God will do for you what they did for him.
And what you cannot do for yourself.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to end it with our prayer. Whew.
Nobody's told y'all today. Yeah. Oh,
And remember, if nobody tells y'all today that they love you, we do.
we do. We love y'all. The
Always.
Disney heart. Here we go.
Alright.
Let's pray, y'all.
Are we doing I or we?
Let's do a we, because there are three of us.
All right.
All right. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you. Come back and see us.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.